as they say now in London Tube. Hello everyone. Dear students, fellow speakers, first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is, as said, my name is Gerfran Moreira. I come from Brazil. I was born in Rio de Janeiro. Yeah. This is just to poke fun at the Argentinians, right? I've been a judge for 23 years, since 1994. I'm a labor judge. I work in Amazonas, where I have lived since I was 10 years old. What I feel more comfortable when I introduce myself is telling people that I'm a teacher. And I've been a teacher for 31 years. I started teaching English at a school. My parents had enrolled me when I was 10 years old. And this was probably the most important thing that happened to me when I was a kid, because this opened a lot of doors for me in my life, including this door or having the opportunity of coming to India, a place that when I was a kid was just a spot on the globe, nothing more than a spot on the map. But it's incredible. I'm here. When I woke up this morning, I don't know why, I remember the song by the Queen, the famous rock group. It's a kind of magic. That's what I felt. It's a kind of magic. And I'm here in secret harmonies, as can be seen and heard in the lyrics. Well, as a teacher, it's not ordinary for me to read speeches, because teachers teach. Teachers speak to students. But as we have some time to obey, some schedule to adhere, I'll read the text. I'll try to be as loyal as possible to my original text. The recognition of international law and of human rights as mandatory and binding to all states is a tremendous breakthrough for all of us. Though not an easy achievement as to its effectiveness. Looking to my own country, as an example, we may see, as I saw it with my fellow delegates from Brazil last Friday, a young and bright delegate for Brazil in the UNO simulation, when he underlined that Brazil has played a very important role in the UNO system since its inauguration 70 years ago, abiding to numerous treaties, arbitrating conflicts, and taking part in the government and composition of several international agencies such as the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, International Labour Association, International Criminal Court, International Court of Justice. Nonetheless, Brazil, the same way as India and so many other states in the world, still face uneasy challenges on the way to make human rights effective. Defeating economic inequality, for instance, is probably the hardest of the tasks. In my country, and barely all over the world, Brazilian Constitution, and again, bringing my country as an example, in its third article, prescribes development and reduction of social inequalities as fundamental goals of our society. However, despite being rich in terms of human and natural resources, we still fail to provide good education to a huge number of children. a fact that still prevents us from having more qualified workers and thus more development and better distribution of opportunities. I take my country as an example, but clearly what we see there is what we can see almost everywhere. In other American countries, in some places in Europe, in Africa, and here in Asia. Education, I defend, is speaking as a self-proclaimed and somewhat pretentious internationalist, is the cornerstone of economic development and of building awareness for human rights. At this point, you may also permit me a short digression, as I cannot help paying a tribute to one of my favorite authors, the distinguished Indian professor, Nobel Prize winner, Amartya Sen. Mr. Sen's studies have contributed wonderfully to the comprehension that economic development is only possible if there is cooperation, if we defeat poverty and inequality, and if we pursue the conquest of human rights as a whole. Daring to add to such points, I would ponder, how can we get all this if children are not educated? How can we achieve a better future if we do not embrace education as a global and permanent concern? The United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children, and it's important that we remember that there is always international law to be observed. So the Convention on the Rights of Children prescribes in its Article 28 the following. Paragraph 1. States parties recognize the right of the child to education, and with a view to achieving this right progressively and on the basis of equal opportunity, they shall, in particular, letter A, make primary education compulsory and available free to all. Letter B, encourage the development of different forms of secondary education, including general and vocational education. Make them available and accessible to every child. And take appropriate measures, such as the introduction of free education and offering financial assistance in the case of need. Letter C, make higher education accessible to all, on the basis of capacity by every appropriate means. Letter D, make educational and vocational information and guidance available and accessible to all children. Letter E, take measures to encourage regular attendance at schools and the reduction of dropout rates. These dropout rates are a problem all over the world. Millions of children start school, but they leave school. They don't get to the end of the education cycle. In my country, it's a problem. Paragraph 2. States parties shall take all appropriate measures to ensure that school discipline is administered in a manner consistent with the child's human dignity and in conformity of the present convention. Paragraph 3. States parties shall promote and encourage international cooperation in matters relating to education. International cooperation. This is what we are doing here, my fellow speakers. In particular, with a view to contributing to the elimination of ignorance and illiteracy throughout the world and facilitating access to scientific and technical knowledge and modern teaching methods. In this regard, particular account shall be taken of the needs of developing countries. So, in accordance to the international human rights law, every effort should be made preparing children to live in a better world. They should be able to build. You children of today, you are active, educating children, so saving children from poverty, creating chances for every boy and girl to be equal, happy and successful. These are goals in which I believe I have faith in this. Because we cannot give up having faith. We cannot give up believing in peace, believing in love, believing in the future, believing in our actions. Because our actions are what are going to change the world, what are going to bring us all the happiness we all deserve all over the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, this is very from Brazil. Well, very true. Education is the primary thing to create awareness. What the people ought to do, what the nation ought to do, what the children ought to do. And that's why your emphasis on proper education and as far as possible free education to the young generation, to the children is very apt. Thank you very much for your talk. May I invite Mr. Justice